This is the Altitude Daily Podcast. Everything you can't miss from today on Altitude Sports Radio. Mosher, Lombardi, and Kane.
More evidence is starting to stack up, correct?
Of what?
Of exactly who they are and who they are not.
Well, again...
No, Brett, you're not understanding here.
Okay.
Because part of me holds out hope that, oh, man, they're going to make some. These guys are who they are. Each player on this roster is who he is. And you're going to live with it, you're going to die with it. And right now, if you want to win a championship, you're going to die with it because right now you just – and by the way, you haven't had enough makers for some time, okay? You simply have not had enough shot makers for some time. Everybody can make shots, but they can't make enough, and they can't make them consistently when they're left wide open.
What's sad is that the Nuggets won all of the hustle points last night.
They did.
They got more rebounds, 49-43. They got more offensive rebounds, 16-8. They got more steals in this game. They were all over the yard. They were great. They were hustling. They just ran out of steam again. And for the second straight year, if they don't come back to win this series, I will go to the offseason thinking, my God, the Denver Nuggets are one player away, one bench player away from playing for another NBA championship. Because I look at the rest of the field, I mean, they can win this whole thing if they get there. They can win this whole... That's what makes it so damn frustrating. Look at what's left. They can win this.
Can I ask you a question?
I felt that exact same way about a week and a half ago.
I don't want this to be like
fun.
I don't want this to be like a hindsight 2020 thing, but just out of curiosity, I want to see what you think. Because you're talking about one more guy, right? There was a decision that was made this offseason that essentially became a 1-for-1. They let KCP walk in the name of roster flexibility, but all that flexibility got you was a MLE contract that was used on Dario Saric, who doesn't play.
Yeah.
If they made the decision to eat the luxury tax, screw the MLE contract, and keep KCP, do you think that's enough?
I disagree with your rationale. They made that decision so as to get some help with a big. They wanted another big, right? So they let KCP walk. They advanced Christian Brown. I'm not saying I wouldn't want KCP on this team. Hell yeah, I would. Of course I would.
But
another defensive wing.
That is the difference.
But the difference is who they got.
Well, understood.
The difference is who they got.
Well, okay, fine. But that's the decision that they made.
I'm just saying the decision wasn't bad. The execution of the decision. It's who they brought in.
Totally
That's what
fine.
didn't work.
The Altitude Daily. The Morning Sprint.
And so what do we have as Denver Nuggets fans to hope for? I go back to, is this the wily vet that picks their spots and waits for the moment to exert themselves? Clearly that's not the case, because he probably would have done that in winning one of these last two ball games. So the other camp that I think the Denver Nuggets fall themselves into, it's the teenage boy that's a procrastinator, man. And wait until the backs are fully against the wall, and I got to get it done.
Vic said it this morning. He agreed with you, and I still think I call both of you crazy. Like, why would you want to play from behind? Why would you not want to play with a lead, that type of cushion? Right? Typically, you want to be leading games in order to win games. Vic had the same trepidation this morning, going like, I don't feel confident at all that they can hold on to leads. I didn't feel confident at all that the Avs could hold on to leads against the Stars, and look what happened to them in 7 games. Maybe I have to come over to your side where it's like, just keep it within arm's length.
Is this a KFC problem?
I don't know, man.
Can you and I hold on to a market share lead? I say we expand our lead. Let's go, man. Quit being soft, Raj. Let's make our lead 10x what it is right now. Come on, babe.
Is playing from behind the answer for them?
I just think having your back against the wall in general, both within a series, I don't know if it's necessarily like their backs are fully against the wall.
Well,
Finally.
they've only had their backs against the wall once so far. It's not like their backs were against the wall for the entire LA series.
They showed up when they needed to in Game 7. This is a lose, and your backs are against the wall for 2 games in a row.
And Levi goes, how does it not exist, the superpower, when there's 2 more games left for them to show that? I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that it's a superpower that you thought that you had and you possessed, and the other team did not. Right? That's my analogy going back to the 12-year-old that was so much bigger, better, stronger, and faster than all of his peers at 12. That superpower that he had that no one else did at that time, 4 years later, they might still be that type of guy, that elite athlete. But then the rest of the crew has kind of caught up to them a little bit. And that's what it feels like OKC. OKC has gone from the 12-year-old that goes like, oh yeah, you're just a step behind right now in terms of the grand scheme, the ability to get there and win it all when they haven't done it in the past. They feel like they're now on equal footing.
The Altitude Daily. Columbus, Hastings, and Dmac.
Tyler, I had to call in because I'm so tired. I haven't slept. You know how it is, Scott Hastings. But Dmac has this rare ability to force people to rise out of like death and call into radio shows because it's some of the
You just got a tooth pulled, didn't you?
Yeah, but I could, I could be in my grave, and if I heard Dmac's stance on this, I would have to call. It doesn't matter. I have to call. I cannot believe you're falling victim to this. I mean, I read it in the Denver Post today, and I laughed. And then I heard you say it, and I laughed. It's the dumbest notion ever. It's so dumb to take out the best player in the world for a couple minutes and to think that that's a good thing when he's the only player playing. It's so dumb.
And he wanted to play, by the way. He wanted to play.
Let me tell you, D-Mac, let me tell you why. All right?
Sure.
This will end the argument, and then you can go.
Oh, really?
And just give. Yeah.
I bet it doesn't.
End the argument.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Bet it doesn't.
It does.
Okay.
Okay. In Game 4, where was Joker in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter?
He's on the court.
He's on the bench.
No, he wasn't. He was on the bench. And what happened in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter of Game 4?
Outscored 9-0. 9-2.
And when he returned to the game, they were trailing. They were up by 8. When he got back into the game, they were trailing. So you say you got to sit him because that's really – they sat him in Game 4. How'd that work out for you?
It didn't work out well. You blew a lead.
Okay, so you're telling me that a man who's on pace for 44 points, who is having one of those nights, you're going to take him and say, let's go ahead and throw you in the corner and have you chill.
And I'll tell you why. The
I heard your reasoning. It makes no sense.
Of course it makes sense.
Dumb reasoning.
All right, fine. Vic, is basketball a game of runs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a game of runs.
So inevitably, Oklahoma City is going to make a run at some point, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So at what point do you need the most out of your players in any game?
How come that didn't work in Game 4 then?
I don't know, Vic.
Using your logic.
Oh, all right. Game 4. Well, here's why. In Game 4, it was the 36-hour rule. That's what we heard. It was fatigue. It was 36 hours. They didn't have the proper rest. That's what we were told, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Aaron Gordon told you. Even though Joker and CB denied it, Adelman speculated about it, and Aaron Gordon told it to your face that it had an impact. That's why.
So in your world, every game, I agree with Scott. Maybe you pick another spot to rest him. Maybe he doesn't have to be at the beginning of the fourth. Maybe it could be at the end of the third. But to rest a guy he's the only guy on the court who produced for you last night in the fourth quarter. The rest of the team shot 1 of 15. He was 4 of 6, 13 points. You want to take that out of the game?
Yeah, because you Kelly leaked the team. You created a situation where everybody was just looking at one dude and wasn't in the flow of the game.
His take, because the other 36 minutes they were in the flow, and then he stayed in. They got out of the flow. His take is everybody was afraid to play with Joker, and so they should have taken him out so they wouldn't have been afraid.
That logic would work, Scott, if in Game 4, when he sat for 3 mintes, they went berserko. Instead, they gave up an 8-point lead in a matter of minutes.
Which they did in a couple games, by the way, with the Clippers.
Should they have rested Joker? Should Adelman have rested Joker at some point in the fourth quarter?
No, not last night. The object is win the game, and he's hot.
So
were there diminishing returns at some point?
Oh yeah.
For Nikola Jokic.
Agrees with that.
Well, yeah.
Nikola wanted to play. It's one thing if he's like, he wanted to play. And if you disagree with that, I just don't understand. I don't think you know basketball.
There you go. That's like the weakest argument you can make.
Well,
the you don't know ball argument is right up there with you didn't play the game, Vic. So if you want to resort to the lowest form of sports talk commentary, congratulations, you get the ribbon.
But no, I'm telling you, if a player personally tells you he's not winded, if a player tells you, like if you played sports, right? If you go to your coach and say, I'm fine, let's go, let's get through this. Doesn't that Isn't that enough for you? What do you need? The logic of Dmac, this make believe Kelly Leak argument that exists? That logic is more important than a Hall of Fame player telling you I'm going to play?
Yeah, but this is why Adelman is, he's trying to be a head coach. He's not a head coach. I mean, this is a great example.
You've
of
been
it.
all in on Adelman until last. Now we're turning our back on Adelman.
That's where I'm not turning my back on anybody. I'm telling you what happened.
So what did Bennett say today that the Muggle Bennett said that you're agreeing with today?
I didn't even read Bennett today, but I like Bennett as a writer. Young guy, good dude.
I like Bennett too. I like him as a writer too, but he had the same question about whether or not, because they lean on this. Well, when he rests, the Nuggets are this and that. Things change, man. The world changes daily.
The Altitude Daily. Kretman and Lindahl.
Next guest, he is saddled with only two. He is Chris Dempsey of Altitude Television, and he joins us right now on the Ramos Law Hotline. Car accident? You need Ramos Law. Medical doctor and attorney. Visit ramoslaw.com. Demps, how you doing, man?
Well, I feel so inadequate. I need 8 arms. I need 6 more arms.
Yeah, don't we all?
So does Nikola Jokic,
apparently. Apparently. Demps, why did they lose last night?
Well, because the fourth quarter is becoming a problem. I mean, this was the thing that we thought was, and rightfully so, coming into the series, was the biggest advantage that the Nuggets had, and that is their ability to, tap into experience and execution, which we always see them have in the fourth quarter. And now this is 2 straight games where they have been severely outplayed in the fourth quarter. And I think 2 things are happening. One, we're seeing Oklahoma City grow up as a young team that is learning how to play big-time playoff basketball in a way to what they hope would be a championship. And then just the Nuggets not having enough around the 2 stars to be able to, well, quite frankly, around the 1 star yesterday in the fourth quarter, Nikola Jokic, to be able to see themselves through. And if that is going to continue, then their season will be over sooner than later. And, this series has been interesting because it really has been both teams just saying to the other one, your role players can win the day. And then whoever's role players win the day, usually that team has won the game. And, as the series has gone on, OKC has challenged the notion that you need to have a short bench at all in the playoffs, and their role players are starting to come up big and play enormous parts in their victories.
You've been listening to the Altitude Daily. Catch us live weekdays on 92.5 FM, the Altitude Sports Radio app, twitch.tv/AltitudeSR, youtube.com @Altitude Sports Radio, and your favorite smart speaker. Say Altitude Sports Radio.